Hey, what's going on guys? Welcome back to another tutorial, and in this tutorial we are going to create this text. So what's special in this text? This text is completely normal until I hover on it. So as soon as I will hover on it, it will break into two parts. So it might be looking complicated and you might be thinking how we will split a text into two parts, but don't worry, I had explained every single step. You just have to watch the tutorial completely. Also, before moving on to the tutorial, let me tell you guys that I regularly upload awesome tutorials on this channel. So I will must recommend you to check out my other videos, and also make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you can get a notification whenever I will upload a new tutorial. Now let's start creating our broken text effect. So I had opened the output here. Let's start writing the HTML for it. So HTML is quite simple. You just have to write any tag and include your text inside it. So you can write any tag. I am writing the h1 tag and I will write my text inside h1 tag, that is broken. And one thing that you have to include here is the data attribute. Okay, so I will write data text is equal to, and you have to write the same text here that you have included here. So I will copy and paste it. So what is this attribute? Okay, so the data attribute basically let you create your own custom attributes that can store some of your custom data. I want this text to be stored in an attribute, that's why I had used a data attribute here. And this text here can be anything, it is arbitrary, you can write anything here and it will work completely fine. Now we will see why we need this data attribute when we will write CSS. So that's it for the HTML part. Now let's start writing CSS. So first of all, I will give some general styling to our body element. So I will target the body element and I will give it a background color of 131313, and I will remove the default margin given by the browser. So I will reset the margin of our body to 0, and now I want to center my h1 within the body element. So I will use the flex method, but before that I will give it a height of 100 vh, and now I will use the flex method to center our h1. So I will write display flex here and I will use justify content center to align our h1 horizontally center, and I will also use align items center to align our h1 vertically center. So our h1 is in center now, and now let's give some styling to our h1 element. So first of all, I will give it a font family of Vardhana, and I want its font size to be 50 pixel. I want the text transform to be uppercase, and also let's change its color to white so that we can see it properly. I also want to remove the default margin given by the browser, so I will reset the margin to 0, and I want the cursor to be pointer, and that's it for our h1. Now let's see what will be our approach to create this broken text effect. So what I will do is basically I will create two replicas of my h1 element, and I will clip some of their parts, and I will align those replicas in such a way that they will look like one single text. So this is basically two replicas of our h1 element, and I have clipped some of their parts and I had aligned them in such a way that they are looking like one single text. So let's start creating those replicas, and then you will understand what I am trying to explain you. So I will create those two replicas using before and after pseudo elements. And if you don't know about before and after pseudo elements, you can check out my this Instagram post. It's a barely 2-minute read, and I bet you will understand how before and after pseudo elements work. The link to this Instagram post is in description. Now let's start creating the replicas. So I will target the before pseudo element, and I want the same content that we have inside our h1. So I will write content here, and now you can understand why we had used this data attribute, because we can directly refer it into our content property by using the attribute function, and we can pass this attribute here. And now whatever will be inside the data text attribute will be used as a content of our before pseudo element. Let's change its color so that we can differentiate between our h1 element and pseudo element. So I will change its color to blue, and similarly I will create one more replica, and now I will use after pseudo element. So I will write after here and I will give it a different color. So let's give it red color. And now you can see we got two replicas of our h1 element, and now as I said, I will clip some parts of my pseudo elements and will align them in such a way that they will look like one single text. So let's start clipping. So I will use clip path property and I will use polygon function here, and inside the polygon function you have to define the coordinates of the part that you want to clip. So I want to kinda clip this part. Okay, so basically just look at my cursor. I will clip this part from the before pseudo element, and so I will define the coordinates here. So the very first coordinate is here, that is 0 from x-axis and 0 from y-axis. So I will write 0 from x-axis and 0 from y-axis. And the second coordinate will be 100% from x-axis and 0 from y-axis. And the third coordinate will be 0 from x-axis and 100% from y-axis. So you can see we clipped out some part from our before pseudo element, and now I will do the same for our after pseudo element, but this time I want the opposite part to be clipped out. So I will define the coordinates. I want the coordinates to be 100% from the x-axis and 0 from y, and the second coordinate I want is 100% from x and 100% from y, and the third coordinate I want is 0 from x and 99% from y. So you can see we clipped out the parts of our before and after pseudo elements. Now we have to position them in such a way that they will look like one single text. So I want to position them in relative to our h1 element. So I will write position absolute in both of them, and I will write position relative in the h1 element. And now let's give position to our before and after pseudo element. So I want their position to be at top 0 and left 0. I want the same for after also. So I will copy and paste it here. And now you can see we placed our before and after pseudo element, and if I will give them the same color, they will look like a one single text. So let me give them one single color, that is FF7A00, and now you can see they are looking like one single text. And now we just have to add a hover effect on our before and after pseudo elements. But before that, let's just get rid of the repeated code. So what I will do is basically I will combine the before and after pseudo element, and I will define the similar styles that we have given to them here. Okay, so let's see what we have common in them. So we have top 0 and left 0 common in them. So I will remove top 0 and left 0 from here, and I will define top 0 left 0 here. So it will get applied to both of them. So now you can see everything is working fine. Now let's see what else is common in before and after pseudo element. So the color property, the content property, and the position property is common in both of them. So I will remove all of them from after and before, and I will add it here. So everything is working fine now, and now let's start getting the hover effect. So I want to target the before pseudo element when I will hover on h1. Now to create that broken effect, you just have to move before and after pseudo element a little bit, and you have to rotate them a little bit. So I will use transform property here, and when I will hover on h1, I want to give transform property to my before pseudo element. So I will move it in left direction by 5 pixel. So I will write 5 pixel, and we want to move it in left direction, so I will pass negative value here. And I also want to rotate in anti-clockwise direction by 3 degree, so I will write rotate function here, and I will pass 3 degree, and I want to rotate it in anti-clockwise direction, so I will use negative value here. So you can see when I am hovering, the rotate and translate value is working on before pseudo element, and I will do the same for after, but this time I want to move it in the right direction, so I will use positive value here, and I want to rotate it in clockwise direction, so again I will use positive value here. Let's add transition to them. So I will add a transition property here, and we are only changing the transform properties, so I will write transform here, and I want the transition duration to be 0.3 seconds. Now let's see what we get when we will hover on h1. So you can see we are getting the broken text effect, but the h1 element is still visible. So what I will do is basically I will change its color to transparent so that the h1 becomes invisible, and we got only before and after pseudo element. And now you can see when I will hover on our h1, we got this nice broken text effect. So this was it guys. Look how easy it was to create this broken text effect. You can use this effect on any text. You just have to use the data attribute, before pseudo element and after pseudo element, as I had showed you. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and understood every single step. But still, if you have any doubts related to any step, just feel free to comment your doubts below. I regularly upload awesome tutorials like this, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. And before ending this video, I want to tell you guys that this YouTube channel is in collaboration with an amazing platform known as Nutanix School. You can check out their website, the link is in description. And also let's understand a bit about what exactly is Nutanix School. Let's see about what is Nutanix School. So Nutanix School is a platform which prepares you for your career in tech. It has courses designed for working professionals, freshers, and even people with no tech background. That means even if you are from a non-tech background, you can also join this platform and can make your career in tech. Nutanix School will first train you for 6 months and will help you become an amazing full stack developer. Now you might be thinking whether this platform is free or not. So let me tell you a cool thing, that you don't have to pay Nutanix School anything until and unless you are placed with a minimum 5 lakh CTC. I repeat guys, you don't have to pay Nutanix School anything for the 6 months full stack developer training until and unless you are placed with a minimum 5 lakh CTC. And I think this is something that all of us should expect from any training program. So must check out their website for more information. I will provide the link in description. Now on their website you can see they have something called the Launchpad. So Launchpad is basically an initiative taken by Nutanix School for people who want to start their coding journey from scratch, and that too absolutely free of cost. This video of mine will be also available on the Launchpad section. You can go there anytime and you can learn basics of programming languages, you can practice quizzes, and even you can do assignments. These all things are completely free to do. And now I will see you guys in the next tutorial.